Hey guys, it's the Unsmooth Criminal, and I'm here with a one-shot. And this is going to be a one-shot of what if Deku was a ringmaster? Or what if Deku was the ringmaster? Whatever you want to call it. But her quirk is going to get really overpowered. So, her quirk is called Perfect Control. And it starts when she's born, because she has a mutation. And think the name of it is heterochromacy, where both eyes are different colors. One of her eyes are purple and the other eye is pink. It's not that different, but it's still different from normal people. And when she's born, the field locks in that spot. A field that she can control, and everybody that walks into this field gets affected by the field. And subconsciously, because yes, child minds do work earlier than human minds, or adult minds, subconsciously, the child's mind is questioning the world and wondering how the person in front of them is going to react to them. So there's a doctor that thinks that the child is ugly and is a monster for having two different colored eyes. And she sees this and she has a negative reaction towards it. And subconsciously she thinks everybody's going to be like that. So everybody who gets affected by the bubble, except for one person, there's going to be one person who's not affected. Everybody who gets affected by the bubble is changed to act exactly like that. So that means her mother, the doctors, the nurses, and everybody who walks into that room. So we go to when the child gets home. She hasn't been fed in over a week. She's very sick, and the mother finally feeds her. And she gets healthier, but she doesn't get completely healthy because she keeps in this malnourished state for a really long time because the field has affected her mentally. Her father was affected too, so when she gets old enough, he starts whipping her with his belt for no reason. She starts talking, he would whip her. She starts moving around and doing stuff on her own, he whips her. So she doesn't do anything unless she's told to. She doesn't even try to breathe unless she's told to, unless she's at school. She's currently 4. They haven't taken her to the quirk doctor. And she goes to school. And she meets a Nico, and she does like cats. She meets a Nico named Kasuki Bakugo. And they hit it off immediately. And the list of trusted people, because the sphere of influence from her keeps expanding slowly. Every day it expands a few more inches. And Kasuki Bakugo hasn't walked into this sphere of influence yet. So she gets listed as someone who likes her for her. And she gets really attached to Kasuki. And Mitsuki, who's already been affected by this, is telling her to stay away from the monster that's at school. And Kasuki's like, there's no monster at school. And everybody in town is starting to get affected by this sphere of influence. And subconsciously, it's starting to change to where they're like, you're more of a siren than a actual monster. So you try to woo people over with your looks and your voice. So everybody doesn't trust her and doesn't allow her to speak or even look at her when she's walking around town. The only one who does is Katsuki. And in this time, she hasn't really grown up physically. She's always stayed close to 4 years old. And Katsuki has seen that she hasn't grown any taller since she has been 4, and she's completely confused about this. So she goes through getting bullied by everybody. Both of them get bullied. And when I say perfect control, that means she can control anything that's in her sphere of influence, from matter to energy. And one day, the mini Katsuki, that has a great control over her quirk, and her quirk is more powerful than in canon because of the sphere of influence. And by the way, it by this time, because they are 10 now, it has completely covered Japan. So everybody who's in Japan has a negative reaction towards her. Katsuki is the only one who doesn't. And one day, Katsuki is attacked by a villain. And this villain tries to kill her and take her quirk. So you know exactly who this villain is. And yes, he can take mutation quirks, but he tries taking the quirk of the monster in Japan, and he knows that there's absolutely no one that's a monster, because he's the only monster here. But he still doesn't like her for being her. He doesn't like her at all, because she's trying to be a hero. Yes, she's still trying to be a hero. And he attacks Katsuki and successfully stabs her in the heart and kind of blows her arm off with an attack. And all of a sudden, she fades out of reality and appears behind him again, with everything fine with her. It's like the Izanagi. Or no, Izanami. No, Izanami is the one where you get to see the repeat. Izanagi is the one that you survive. And she is put in this like loop where the person attacks her, tries to take her quirk. She just disappears and reappears somewhere else. And if he does successfully take her quirk, he loses control of his and he gives her quirk back. And this goes on for like an hour until the control comes. And so she's known, the ringmaster's known as Rose Armstrong. She's known as Rose Armstrong. Her parents, they died a while ago. But they technically didn't die. Because subconsciously, she wanted them dead. So they're dead, but not dead at the same time. So you see how powerful her control is? So if you guys ever think of the Oppa Oppa no Mi, that's basically what she has for her sphere of influence. It's always locked in one spot, but it constantly grows the longer it's active. So All for One sees her and gets this overwhelming rage towards her, and he doesn't know why. So he walks up to her and he takes her quirk, and he successfully takes her quirk. But then he gets overloaded with all the information that her quirk is storing. So he gives back her quirk, and it resets everything. And she knows exactly what's going on, except she doesn't. So we go back to when the ringmaster is at the hospital being born. And she's like, there's going to be people who love me. There's going to be people who love me. And she's thinking this and thinking this and thinking this. And in the next room over is Katsuki Bakugo's being born. So she changed her sphere of influence the day after she's being born. And her saying that there's going to be at least one person who loves me, at least one person who loves me, subconsciously, she's still thinking that everybody's going to hate her except for her. The one that she loves. The only one who loves her back. And this time, Katsuki gets affected by the sphere of influence. And she, for some reason, just is attracted to this one girl at school now. So we go back to when they're 4. And Katsuki's always talking to this one girl. And whenever this one girl is starting to get bullied, she runs in to help. And by the way, the sphere of influence did not shrink at all. So that's why Katsuki got affected. So Katsuki is now immortal because of the Izanagi, and she's immune to quirk taking effects. And Rose is still being called a monster by everybody. She's still living the same life, so she's living a nightmare again. But this time, Mitsuki was convinced, barely, by Katsuki to give Rose a chance. And so she invited Rose over one day, and Rose had bruises, and she's beaten thoroughly by her father before she could leave the house. And she left the house, and she got to the Bakugo's residence, and she had bruises all over. She had scrapes. She had bumps. And she didn't do anything without anybody telling her when she's in Mitsuki's house. And Mitsuki sees this, that she's afraid to do anything on her own, walks over to Katsuki and asks if she's ever seen her like this. And she goes, no, I've never seen her like this. Every day she comes to school and she's perfectly fine. So, she's never told a lie, Rose. She's never told a lie, no matter who it is. And Mitsuki finally asks Rose, so, why are you bruised? And Rose tells her that her father whips her and that her mother beats her with a beer bottle once in a while. And then she shows a scar that's on her throat of the beer bottle sticking out of her throat, or getting stabbed into her throat. And Mitsuki is absolutely horrified of this and asks what's Rose's quirk. And she goes, I don't know. And and Katsuki, or I'm just going to call her Bakugo, and Bakugo's like, I feel like your quirk's name is Perfect Control. I don't know why, I just feel like it is. And she goes, what do you mean? And Katsuki goes, Damn it. I called her Kasuki. I meant Bakugo. Damn it. I don't know. But I just feel that its name is Perfect Control. And so they go, okay. Mitsuki goes, okay, I'll take you to the quirk doctor in 2 days. Why don't you come back in 2 days? And she goes, I can't. My dad will beat me again. And she goes, fine. Then you'll stay here for 2 days. And she starts getting freaked out, like, my dad's going to just beat me again. And Mitsuki goes, no, she won't. I have a police officer friend that will do anything I ask because he owes me a favor. And her subconsciously thinking, oh, there's going to be a few people who like her on random. There's like a homeless dude that says hi to her every few days. There's a cop that's like, oh, hey. And he just smiles at her like a little and then just goes on his way. Because he's still being affected by the I don't like her part of it, but he's also being affected by the maybe I could try. I don't like her instinctively, but maybe if I get to know her, I might like her. So he just walks by her every day and just smiles at her and waves, and she smiles back, putting up a facade of a smile. And we go to 2 days later, and Rose walks into the quirk doctor, and they call Rose Armstrong, and Rose goes into the quirk doctor's office, and he hates her. He despises her for no reason. He's never met her before, but he despises her for no reason. So he puts his prejudice aside, because you're supposed to do that when you're a doctor. You're supposed to save whoever you can. You're supposed to do your job. So he puts his prejudice aside, he puts his feelings aside, and he does his job. And he sees this thing called perfect control, sphere of control, and he has a quirk that gives him an exact reading of the quirk. And he sees the distance that it has control over. And he goes, what the hell are you? And she starts crying because she thinks that she's just going to get hit again. And he sees this, and when people know they're being controlled from her quirk, they stop being controlled. They go to what they originally are supposed to be. And he goes to a nice person again. Because he was originally a nice person. To everybody. So he goes back to a nice person and he hugs her. Saying, I'm so sorry for what I just said. I didn't mean to hurt you. And her eyes widen, thinking, oh crap. He's just going to hurt me. And she starts freaking out, having a panic attack. And he calls in the Bakugo family because they said that if she starts having a panic attack, call us in or I will sue you. And he doesn't want to get sued, so he calls them in, and they run in, and Kasuki starts calming her down. And he whispers to Mitsuki that she has a control quirk. And the affected area, and he says the affected area and says where it starts. And Mitsuki's effect from not liking her at first is completely gone now. So she treats her like a daughter now. And she goes, what do you mean? And he goes, have you not seen her been treated horribly on the road? And she goes, maybe, I don't know. I just don't pay attention. And he goes, yeah, every single person, maybe a few here or there throughout the entire city, are not treating her like absolute crap, but everybody who treats her like absolute crap is just being affected by the quirk. And he gives her a complete rundown of what her quirk can do. And she's like, holy crap. And it's been active this entire time. So it has coverage over the entire world. Now, She has control over time, space, matter, energy. She has control over everything when she's in the bubble. And he goes, if she knows about this, and she can't hear this because she doesn't want to, subconsciously she doesn't want to, and he says if she knows about her quirk weakens. And she goes, how can we tell her quirk without actually telling her quirk? And he goes, I got this. And he walks up to her and says, your quirk's name is Ringmaster. You can do whatever the hell you want. And her eyes widen and say, I can make people like me? And he goes, yes. But it will only work for a few hours until it just disappears of anything you do. And then she starts crying again and thinking that, oh, that's how her quirk works. And he says that there's also a downside. If someone's being controlled by your Ringmaster quirk, and he's completely telling her absolute bullcrap, except for this part. Someone knows that they're being controlled by your Ringmaster quirk, they will immediately be uncontrolled. They can't be controlled again. And she hears this and goes, okay, thank you. And she clings to Katsuki. She's been clinging to Katsuki this entire time. And by this time, Katsuki has found her true feelings for Rose. And Mitsuki's like, okay. So if we tell our parents, and he goes, you cannot do that. And she goes, why? And he goes, if you do, they'll go to a quirk doctor and tell her. We cannot do that. And they're currently out of the room in the waiting room, waiting for Mitsuki. And she goes, but her life. And he goes, you can take it. Legally, judges are not supposed to be prejudiced. So if you have a good enough case and you have evidence to prove it, and she goes, yes, I do, you can take her from her parents. And she goes, okay, I will. So a few months later, she's now moved out of her old home with her parents and moved into Mitsuki's home with her husband and Katsuki. And she's moved into Katsuki's room because Mitsuki has been seeing how Katsuki worries about Rose. And yes, Rose is going to be bi. And Mitsuki's husband was told about the control, so he now is not controlled, but he still acts controlled. He acts controlled so that she can not know about her quirk. So there's been a few police officers that were told about her quirk. Now Masa, all the heroes have been told about her quirk. So everybody who's been told about it has been told that if they tell anybody besides other heroes or police officers that require this knowledge, they will be sued by a lot of money. And even the government knows about this. So very few people in the government knows about this quirk. It's classified. And she's so powerful that they have to put, if anybody knows what a S rank secret for Naruto is, they had to put S rank on it. So everybody's like, we're going on a normal day, but a few of them are like, they're all being controlled. So she's been practicing her quirk for the next few years, and she has perfect control over it. And Aizawa, or over the Ringmaster quirk that she'd been told of, and she's slowly been trying to get longer times. But she can't. So she's like, screw it, I won't try her longer times, I'll just try bigger objects. So one day, Aizawa's watching her, making sure that she doesn't go overboard with her quirk, because not subconsciously, the doctor told her she had a limit to how much she could summon. And she could raise that limit. And he told everything bullcrap about her quirk to limit herself, so she doesn't go overboard with the data her admits. So he's just watching her, making sure she doesn't go overboard, and he sees that she hurts herself. And he was told that if she hurts herself, do not act. Do not whatsoever. Just stay in the shadows away from her. And at this point, people have been able to see into other subconscious minds. So he's seen with his quirk, because I'm making his quirk a little stronger, he could see as people's subconscious through their eyes. If he looks directly in their eyes, he could see people in the subconscious world, like in the anime Invaders. Yeah. But he can see people in their subconscious. And and every time that he walks by her in the streets, he asks if he could see her and he can look her in the eyes. And she goes, if you want to see a monster, then that's fine. And he goes, sure, I'd love to see a monster. But I don't see a monster anywhere near me. And he just plays it off like, I'd love to see a monster one day, but I don't see one near me at all. And she doesn't put it together immediately, but after he looks her in the eyes, he sees something that he doesn't want to see ever again. He sees her true personality. Her true personality is that of a horrific, torn up, bloodied, never-ending quest to do what everybody has done to her on other people. So that's why they were told not to tell her of her true quirk, because her true personality will show through. And that order was only told to them after Aizawa saw that. So he was told about her quirk, so he went and checked her subconscious and saw that. Then he ran to the closest hero agency and said, call up the government. We need to put a secret on this. So everybody in the government now knows about this and knows that if they do anything to hurt this little girl, they're going to be punished. If they do anything to tell the little girl of her own true quirk, they're going to be punished. So everybody's like, yeah, just stay away from her. We go to when she's 12. And All For One has found these classified documents, and he's like, hey, why are these classified? It's about a dumb quirk. And he sees what this quirk does, and he's like, oh, crap. Dropped you. I'm sorry. I dropped you guys. I'm sorry. Please don't hurt me. He sees what this quirk can do, and it's like, holy crap, I want this quirk. And then he reads the subtitle, the fine print, saying, if you know what this quirk can do and you control this quirk, the quirk weakens. And he goes, holy crap. So even if I do get this quirk, I can't use it. Damn, that sucks. So he goes around and just follows her around, subconsciously changing her mind very, very slowly. And one day he stole Aizawa's quirk for a little bit and went up to this girl and saw what her subconscious is, and he's like, oh, I want to release her subconscious. So he found a mind control quirk. And a hypnotism quirk. And he used them, and he started to successfully hypnotize her. And he hypnotized her to where if anybody says a specific word, her true personality will show through. And what this word may be is monster. And he made it into a phrase so everybody who says, "You are a monster," will get the true monster behind the mask. And one day she thinks, "Oh, I wonder what it's like to be a Nico." And subconsciously she changes her looks to that of a cat. Yeah, she changes to look like a cat. So, we go to when she's 14, just about to get into UA, and All For One abducts her. He's finally moving on his plans. And he abducts her, and she goes missing, and Mitsuki puts a missing persons report into the police station, and she's completely ignored. Except for Naomasa, because he was told, and since All Might was told, he made sure Naomasa knew. Because Naomasa's like, yeah, Quirk's controlling people sucks. So let's try not to get her in a state of absolute control from this Quirk. Little do they know, All Might's number one enemy. And All For One also put in a kill switch into the hypnotism that if someone says, "You are not a monster, you are beautiful, and you are the most beautiful person I've ever known," and he knows her relationship with Bakugo because he's seen it through the hypnotism and the mind reading. So he makes it to where if she sees Bakugo, and Bakugo says that exact phrase in Bakugo's voice, then she will calm down and the hypnotism will stop. But they haven't met twice yet, and one of the League of Villain members that was idiotic enough to act upon his prejudice against her activates the hypnotism. So, League of Villain members all get shredded by a monster. Think of Jason Voorhees mixed with Freddy Krueger mixed with Michael Myers. A monster. So, when she's done ripping them to shreds, horrifying them, she could start teleporting around because she knows she can do that. She gets complete control over her quirk, but it's all her subconscious mind taking over. So, no control is lost. And she's smiling. She's wearing a mask. She's doing whatever the hell she wants. And this is all happening in front of All For One. And he sees this and he's like, yes, yes, work, yes. So he's like, I don't even need to train Shigaraki. I could just activate her one day and she will destroy everything. But she teleports away to Bakugo and she starts laughing maniacally, and Bakugo sees this and she asks, who is she? And she goes, I'm the monster that everybody wants. And Bakugo says the deactivation phrase without knowing it. And Rose starts to cry. She knows exactly what she did, but she couldn't control herself because her subconscious was controlling her. So, Rose starts to cry, being like, I don't want to be the monster everybody thinks of me. She mentally doesn't want to be, but subconsciously she does. Because she's a freaking sadist. So the League of Villains is completely thrashed. And we go to the entrance exams. And all the robots are currently attacking Bakugo. And Bakugo's like, yeah, I'm just going to use one explosion to wipe them all out. So she gets prepared for one explosion. And this one explosion does so much damage that it blows off every camera. And Nezu goes, okay, she's the valedictorian. And instead of 1A, instead of being in 1A, Rose is put in general studies. And Bakugo hears this and goes, that is absolute bullcrap. Why do they put her in general? Because she's stronger than me. Because Bakugo knows her true quirk. But she doesn't know her true intentions in her subconscious mind. And Aizawa sees that she's not in his class roster. And he goes, what the heck is Nezu doing? Nezu hasn't been filled in yet. And Aizawa doesn't know this. She also didn't do very much at all. She mainly helped people. Very little help, but she still helped people. And everybody's like, what the hell? All the heroes like, what the hell, Nezu? And he goes, what? I did everything by the points. And they go, yeah. But Rose Armstrong can't be put in general ed. And he goes, why? And they go, remember that psychopathic killer that killed all those villains? And he goes, yeah. And they go, that was her real personality. And he goes, what? And they go, yeah. That was her real personality shining through. Because people hypnotized her to bring out her subconscious mind. And he goes, I honestly did not know. And they go, why? You're the smartest person. You should know all these things. And he goes, I wasn't filled in. And they go, that is absolute bullcrap. Why weren't you filled in? It's a freaking government secret. And he's being told that it's a government secret. And he goes, exactly that. The government doesn't like me. And they go, oh yeah. Well, all the heroes know. So, if you wouldn't mind reading this, and Aizawa pulls out a binder with all the details, reading this and replacing her. And at this time, she met Shinso. And Shinso looks semi-like her, but not exactly. So she got along with Shinso very well, because Shinso has a mind control quirk, and he controlled her to not think of him as a prick. So she doesn't think of him as a prick, and he doesn't think of her as a monster, because he thinks of himself more of a monster than she is. But he doesn't know what she's done. So Shinso becomes friends with her, and he is very educated about hypnotism. And he sees the signs of hypnosis on her, that every few words that he says may trigger a response that is very strange to normal people. So he keeps an eye on her, and his adoptive father, Aizawa, because yes, Aizawa did adopt him in this one, gets told about the hypnosis, and he goes, okay, we need a way to counteract the hypnosis, because we don't want what happened last time that it was active to happen again. And Shinso's like, what happened last time? And Aizawa goes, a lot of death. And he goes, what do you mean a lot of death? And Aizawa goes, I'm sorry, but that is a secret that I can't tell you. And he goes, what do you mean? And he says, well, this girl has a very strong and powerful quirk. And he goes, yeah, Ringmaster. And he goes, no. It's not Ringmaster. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, well, I'm about to divulge some government secrets. If you tell anybody, I have permission to cut your head off. Naruto reference, I'm sorry. He goes, don't worry, I won't divulge it to anybody. And he goes, good. You can't even tell her. And he goes, why? And he goes, well, it'll cause mass panic because she'll have a panic attack and subconsciously make everybody think they're having a panic attack. And he goes, what? He goes, yeah. Her subconscious mind controls the world. And he goes, what? He goes, yeah, everybody who knows they're being controlled is not controlled anymore. But that's only a few people. All the heroes in America, in Russia, every hero in the world knows they're being controlled. But the civilians don't. And if you tell her that her quirk's name is Perfect Control, and exactly what it could do, then she'll start freaking out, being like, why wasn't I told? Why wasn't I told? And he says the scenario that happened at the LOV hideout. And what happened to all the villains. And Shinso's like, well, damn. That freaking sucks. And he goes, yeah, that sucks for them. So if we can take away the hypnosis, that would be great. We've had to keep an eye on her, because at times she goes berserk, but we've had Bakugo Katsuki near her to calm her down. That is apparently the only person who can calm her down. And Shinso hears this, he goes, oh, that Class 1A jerk. And he goes, yeah, that one. The only one she's not a jerk to is Rose. And Shinso goes, what the hell? He goes, yeah. Well, I'm kind of moving her to Class 1A, so if you want to get moved to Class 1B, I could easily do that. And he goes, no, I want to be moved to Class 1A. And he goes, sorry, we have a full class already. Maybe if I can expel that Mineta dude or that Aoyama dude. Maybe. He goes, I have more effect against human targets, not robots. That's why I scored so low. And he goes, I know. You've also helped multiple police investigations. My cat's flipping out. Oh my god. The cat's just flipping out. Like someone just stuck something in his butt. That's how freaked out he is. So, a week into school, and Rose gets a notification from Nezu. She gets called into his office. And he says that she's being moved into Class 1A with her best friend, Bakugo Katsuki. Or Bakugo Katsuki. And she goes, okay, why am I being moved? And he goes, well, you're being moved because you have a side effect of your quirk and it's a very bad side effect, and we need to get rid of it because you're hypnotized one day. And she goes, I was? He goes, yeah, remember that one time that you did those unspeakable things? And she goes, yeah. He goes, well, that was a hypnotism. So we need to find a person who can undo hypnotism. And she goes, oh, thank you. I didn't know I was quite being hypnotized. And he goes, you're welcome. And hopefully we can get rid of this hypnotism before it becomes too big of a problem. And she goes, okay, hopefully we can. And she walks to class 1A. When she walks in, she sees, oh my, and she flips out. Not in a bad way. No. She starts freaking out like, oh my god, it's All Might. It's All Might. And she starts having a panic attack. And Katsuki sees this and runs over and hugs her. Like, calm down. Everything's going to be fine. And she's currently freaking out that it's All Might. It's All Might. Oh my god, it's All Might. And she starts mumbling and she goes, oh god. So she's fine. Katsuki slowly takes her to the back of the classroom where her seat is. And she just sits her down comfortably on the chair and is keeping her attention on her. So All Might explains the exercise and it's like, okay, I'll need to just explain it again out there for her. And he clicks the button and he goes, heroes can't be heroes without an outfit. And he starts to present the outfits that they're going to be wearing. So she pulls out her outfit and it looks like I'm going to hate myself for doing this, but it looks like Monama's suit. And she has a little conductor thing for control. Conductor thingy, the little toothpick looking thing that they have. I don't know what the name is, but if you guys do, please tell me in the comments. And she has one of those, and she has a complete, utter conductor suit on. And Monoma sees her walking out of the... Yes, I'm making Monoma into the Class 1A. Because Monoma, I don't know why he wasn't in Class 1A already. But... because his quirk is really freaking good. But... he sees this and he's like, oh my god. There's more than one person who has a good idea. And she sees him and she starts freaking out like, oh my god. He's gonna hate me for having the same clothes. And he walks up to her and says, good choice on clothes. And she starts freaking out like, oh my god, he's gonna continue with an insult. And Katsuki walks up and asks, what is he talking about? And he goes, I'm just complimenting her on her outfit because it works. I heard what her quirk's name is and it works. And she goes, yeah, it does. And they start talking about how good the outfit looks. And she's less and less freaking out. Because Monoma has had a control quirk already. So he knows what being controlled feels like. And controlling people feels like. So he knows that he was being controlled. God, I got to freaking water some dirt. Damn it. Well, back to much watering and talking. So, as All Might finally gets Rose's attention and says what the exercise is about, and everybody's like, why are you saying it again? And he just completely says it and goes, okay, I'm choosing the teams. And he rigged the teams to have Katsuki and Rose on a team. But all the other teams are completely random. Team 1, Katsuki and Rose. And he pulled those out because he did a quick sleight of hand when it was really Katsuki and Monoma. He did a sleight of hand for Rose. And so he keeps going on. And he says, fight 1 is Katsuki and Rose, the villains, and Ida and Monoma, the heroes. And Monoma goes, yes! And by the way, Kaminari is not in this one. And Hagakure, being the Cheshire Cat, is in this one. But everybody's scared of her because she's freaking creepy. Like the actual Cheshire Cat. So, everybody gets in position. And Rose is like, okay, I'm going to do what I do best. And Katsuki goes, okay, no blood and guts. And she goes, but that's what I do best. And she goes, I know your Halloween designs are perfect, but no Halloween designs. And she goes, what if I make them look fake? And she goes, fine, as long as they're fake. And she goes, yes. And her slight sadistic side after the hypnotism has come out. And Katsuki likes it that way. She has a slight sadistic personality, seeing people's reaction to things that are disgusting. So, Katsuki is like, yes. And Rose is like, I just want to see their faces. Ah! So she brings up a computer screen and she quickly hacks into the monitor, the cameras, and she starts setting up very, very vivid recreations of crime scenes. When I say vivid, I mean people torn in half, and Bakugo sees all this and goes, add plastic to the designs, and just fine. The guts look plastic, the blood looks like water, not blood. So they know that it's fake. When it was originally real, and she just created it out of thin air. So, we go to when All Might allows them into the building. And Shinso is currently in Class 1B, trying to get Vlad's approval to oversee the exercise, because if Katsuki's knocked out, he's the only one who can stop her. Because, well, a mind control quirk affecting a mind control quirk. Yeah, that kind of works a little. So Vlad hears the name Rose, and he's like, yeah, just go. And it's like 2 minutes into class, and everybody's like, what are you doing? And he goes, well, he has a very strong quirk. His quirk's name is Brainwash. And they go, he's a villain. And he goes, he is a villainish quirk, but he's using it to help people. And they all ask, what do you mean, help people? And he goes, well, he's using it to stop a calamity class quirk. And they're like, what is a calamity class quirk? And he goes, a quirk that's so strong that the person, if they know that it's strong, will weaken it subconsciously. So they subconsciously use the quirk without actually knowing that they used the quirk. And I go, what? What? That's so strange. And he goes, well, that's how that classify of quirk works. I, on the other hand, have a D class quirk. Isaiah has a B class quirk. And All Might has a class quirk. They'll go, wait, All Might has an A class quirk? Who has an S class? And Vlad goes, well, the only S class we can know about, besides being either calamity or non-calamity, or just being in the normal scale, is All for One. And they go, who the hell is All for One? And he goes, the number one villain. And I'll go, what? And he goes, yeah. Yeah. So we go back to the little exercise they have, and Rose is laughing her butt off because Monoma and Ida are seeing these and throwing up or screaming or just fainting at this. And All Might's like, oh my god. What is the side effect of the hypnosis? And Azar goes, oh yeah, her sadistic side came out a little. And he goes, oh crap, this is gonna suck. And he goes, I know. So everybody's like, what do you mean? And Isaiah says, well, her true emotions are that she wants to kill everybody in the world. And everybody's like, wait, what? What? And they go, yeah, yeah. And they go, well, that freaking sucks. And he goes, yeah, that does suck. But we have 2 fail-safes. And they go, what do you mean? And he goes, well, we have a fail-safe on her team. So if her hypnosis goes off, and it may, and they hear someone yell, you're a damn monster! And he goes, like that. And Izumi starts having a panic attack. A very severe panic attack. Then she starts having a seizure. And this entire time, Katsuki is saying, you're not a monster. You're not a monster. Don't listen to them. You're not a monster. And the hypnosis is turning on and turning off. Turning on and turning off. Turning on and turning off. Just over and over and over. And finally, she just faints. And her constructs don't disappear unless she either wants them to disappear, or her time limit, her known time limit, goes off. And she's asleep for quite a while, and the traps that she set, and she made the buildings inside a lot bigger than the buildings outside. If anybody has done the non-Euclidean portals and or have seen the back rooms, you'll know what I mean by it's a lot bigger on the inside than it is the outside. Because you go around a corner, all of a sudden you're back where you just were. So I have not, honestly, I have not played the backrooms. I didn't know what the backrooms are until I saw a map called the backrooms on a Minecraft thing. So, yeah. I'll link the backrooms remake for Minecraft in the description. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'm getting tired. I need rest. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, leave a like. If you guys didn't, please don't dislike. Tell me what I did wrong in the comments, and I'll try to fix it next time. So, talk to you guys later.